We're continuing the book of Isaiah today, and this is chapters 8 to 10. Continuing the theme from the previous one, it's still pretty heavy going, this. And we start out with some actual Hebrew, I'm going to have to try and say here, where God tells Isaiah to go and get a big old scroll, and on it he is to write, Meher Shalal Hashbaz, something like that. And then he has to go and get some witnesses. And then this is written quite badly, this bit. It's sort of comic if you got this wrong in terms of the instruction. But it says that Isaiah goes and makes love to the prophetess, who is presumably his wife, who then conceives a son. But it's not clear, the way it's written, about getting the witnesses in the middle, is that to witness the writing on the scroll or the making love to the wife? So, yeah, I think that's sort of not particularly well done, and some more clarity was required there. We then skip forward to Isaiah's kid being born, and the kid is named this big thing that the Isaiah wrote on the scroll, which fortunately is translated for us. I don't have to try and say it again. But it translates as quick to the plunder, swift to the spoil. Right? Seemingly some sort of reference to God saying that before the child speaks, the Assyrians are going to come and sort of kick everybody's butts and all the rest of it. But it doesn't quite stack up. I mean, if you look at where Isaiah happens in the grand scheme of things, it's difficult to tell exactly how far out it is, but it's kind of like looking like 100 years out from when the Assyrians actually turn up and kick the Israelites out of Judah. Isaiah then relates another speech from God about what's going on and all the rest of it, this relating again to the Assyrians coming to go and do their thing. It's very flowery and metaphorical in that way that I love. But it ends with, and this is the quote, its outspread wings will cover the breadth of your land, Emmanuel. So we had this Emmanuel thing in the last one, which meant God among us, which sounded like a reference to Jesus coming. But in this context, it doesn't make any sense that's a reference to Jesus coming at all. So, yeah, I don't know. It's really difficult to try and figure this stuff out. We then go on to there's this explicit bit that people shouldn't consult spirits, which I suppose sort of makes sense. Isaiah's reasoning is, why consult the dead on the behalf of the living? So kind of got a point, I think. That's interesting. That sort of resonates with me at the minute because it's an issue that I'm potentially having in that my daughter, teenager, is sort of interested in the idea of Ouija boards and coming to me and like, oh, is this okay? And as a secular person who doesn't believe in ghosts and goblins and all the rest of it, as I've said several times, I don't particularly care because I don't think they're real. And so I think it's just someone moving a thing around. It's just daft. But I also have to acknowledge that this Bible stuff could be true, and it's very explicit that this is not good, and that would seem logically the case. If it's not good, if the Bible is true, then it would not be good to go consulting evil spirits. It would also suggest if the Bible is true that those spirits might actually be real as well. So I'm left in this sort of difficult position with my daughter saying no, because that's stupid, one way or the other. But I can't really back it up. So it's a difficult one. I feel for her in some respects that she's looking at me going, why can't I do this? You don't even believe this stuff is true. But I'm sort of stuck with, but it could be. So let's just, we'll steer clear of that. Isaiah also then suggests that everyone who doesn't live carefully will only see disasters, darkness and fearful gloom. I think that's the ties back to an idea we've come across a lot of times, that it doesn't seem to be true necessarily in life. Like, you can be a total punk and have a lot of fun. And I guess it might be talking in the context of overall time, maybe something like that. We then come on to a very interesting bit, which I'm going to read. It's Isaiah chapter 9, verses 6 and 7. And it says, "For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the greatness of his government and peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this." So the bit I flash up on screen is actually taken from a Dead Sea Scrolls translation, so the colours refer to bits that are slightly different. You might have noticed there's the word armies in the end there that wasn't in this Bible. I don't think any of that matters, but it's an interesting first look at the differences between the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Bible as we have it today, i.e. not much difference. But I decided to cheat as well on this and Google this. Is this talking about Jesus? Do people feel that that is? Because I'm getting so confused on, is it Jesus, is it not Jesus? I know this is very explicitly, widely agreed that this is talking about Jesus. So yeah, this was written a very long time before Jesus came along, but does seem to be predicting something, assuming Jesus was who he said he was, of course. But then we've just done a tangent on that, so if you're interested in that idea, go and have a look at that. Immediately from there, though, it just goes on to say that God is particularly angry with Israel and that their downfall is coming, which, well, that's true in the context of Isaiah's time. It's a little way off yet, but it is coming. The end of Israelites' time in Judah is coming to an end. For thoroughness on the predictions point, we then also have covering off the Assyrians, and God is talking about he will use them to punish Judah, and then mentions that Assyria are going to think it's all because of them being super clever, and then God will then have to punish them for their willful pride and haughty look in their eyes. That haughty look strikes again. So obviously the interesting bit in there is this prediction of Jesus, which everyone says is a prediction of Jesus. But at this point, we're something like 700 years from Jesus turning up. So assuming Jesus is who he says he is, let's give him the benefit of the doubt for that for a minute. Why would you predict something anyway? And then why would you predict it that far ahead? I don't quite understand that. So, I mean, it's very interesting. And we do have the Dead Sea Scrolls, a copy of a Dead Sea Scroll that dates to before Jesus was born. So we know that this stuff was definitely written before Jesus was born. So if it were correct that it is Jesus, then that is actually an accurate prediction. But it's arbitrary. Why would you not? I don't know. Oh, it's probably not arbitrary, is it? That's the point. Why would it not be 1,500 years before or 10 years before? But it's 700 years before, so why is it now? And that's really annoying. But regardless, this book is proving very interesting. There's a lot of heavy stuff in it, but we shall carry on and see what else we can find.